Hi, everyone. I am Donna Reid, and this is Donna Reid Talks Voice. In the previous episode, we were talking about tongue tension and the movement of the tongues. And in this episode, we're going to address the consonants and how the consonants affect what the vowels are doing and different register balances that can happen with each vowel because of a different consonant. Now, the next thing I want to address is what happens when you use an F instead of a G. So, Nellie, I'm going to have you do, I'm going to do a GL. Gla, 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 gla.
Gla, 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 gla.
Now do the same thing with an F, but make sure you have a little bit of airflow, fa, 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 and not fa, 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 fa.
Fa, 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 fa.
And did you notice a difference between the two?
The fa was a little easier for me today,
Oh, interesting.
which is interesting because it normally isn't. um, that is the difference that I noticed.
Now, what I noticed is not that much of a difference.
Right.
So, again, I'm not going to have people hear something that didn't happen. Normally, and the reason I did this, normally with the gla, 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 a little bit more chest voice comes in. With the fa, 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 with that little bit of airflow, a little bit more head voice comes in. So I can't even say that I heard that much of a difference.
Yeah,
But
it didn't feel so different.
But what's really important is that the fa, fa was easier. That's an important point. Then I would take it from there. I'm like, oh, if that's easier, I might take that higher. I might take that lower. I might go playing around with that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's interesting that that happened. I'm going to try it in a different pitch range. You're going to start with more chest voice, obviously. Do the gla, gla, gla first, and then we're going to do the fa, fa, fa.
Gla, 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 gla.
Now do fa, fa, fa.
Fa, 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 fa.
Again, not much of a difference.
No.
Usually I find with my students it's more of a difference. That's a good thing that there's not that much of a difference. One consonant can lean the voice toward one way or the other, but when a voice works well, you could just do whatever it is you want, and your voice just wanted to do that. All right, fine. We'll move on and see what happens with somebody else's voice, right? So, Martin, let's do. Again, we're going to start with the gla, 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 whatever kind of ah you want, and let's see what happens.
Gla, 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 gla.
Great. Now do it with fa, fa, fa.
Fa, 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 fa.
Interesting. Again, I didn't notice much of a difference. Did you feel any difference?
Yeah, the fa gave me a little bit more of a release, so it felt a little bit better.
Okay. So in both cases, with Nellie and with Martin, the fa feels a little bit better because there's that little bit of extra airflow that's going on.
Yeah.
Michael, let's see what happens with you. Let's do the same pitches. First gla, 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 then fa, fa, fa.
Gla, 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 gla. Gla, gla, gla.
Well, we lost the top note a little bit for some reason, but that's all right. We heard enough of it. So try with the fa.
Fa, 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 fa. Fa, fa, fa.
Oh, I definitely like the fa better.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Now, see, there I heard a difference. Did you notice a difference between the gla and the fa?
Yeah, it just felt much more flowy, like the breath was moving and the sound was moving.
Yeah, that's normally why I use a fa. And what I like about the fa, and sometimes I'll use a sha, but what I like about the fa is that if you do the right fa, the air flows without getting pushed. But you want to make sure you don't go fa, 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 because then things are stiff. You want fa, fa, fa. But sometimes you could even try with sha, 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 and it keeps the air flowing. I think a big problem with a lot of people when they sing is the air stops flowing. Their bodies get tight or whatever, and the air doesn't flow. And this just gets that more fluid thing. Now, not to say that the gla, gla, gla is not good. The gla is really helpful because it gets the tongue moving. It gets everything going with that. But now, Lorraine, do gla, gla, gla first and back down.
Gla, 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 gla.
Now, do it again, and maybe not so fast. Take a little bit more time with it. Gla, 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 and then back down.
Gla, 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 gla.
Good. Now try with the fa, 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 and see if there's a difference.
Fa, 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 fa.
Now, except for the last note, which I should have added the T on both of them. I like the fa a little bit better, but did you have a preference?
I prefer the fa as well.
Yeah, again, you feel a little bit more airflow, a little bit easier.
It was lighter. It just felt easier.
Now do the same fa, 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 but add that T at the bottom of the last note.
Fa, 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 fa.
Now, just for the fun of it, do it with the SH. Sha, sha, sha. Let's hear what happens.
T on the end.
No, let's not put the T on the end and see what happens.
Okay. Sha, 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 sha.
Oh, now see that was it was not bad. The reason I didn't want to put the T at the end is I thought with the sha you'd be able to keep the air flowing. Be careful not to cut off the bottom note too abruptly. Not that you want to necessarily hold it longer, but it's kind of like can you keep the air flowing without the T? Sha, 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 and just keep the idea of that airflow on the last one. You may have to pull back on the volume on the bottom, on the very last note.
Sha, 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 sha.
Add the T.
Sha, 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 sha.
Yeah. That really makes a difference.
Yeah, this is like my main thing I'm going through right now is this the ending note, and if it gets whatever happens to it.
Exactly.
What does the T do, Donna?
What the T does is it keeps the air flowing for you. So when you finish the note, it goes instead of just and then the air shuts down. So it keeps that air flowing, and then you don't have that little shutdown at the end. So you can see how important it is to understand exactly what the consonants are doing and how that works for you. Now, as you just saw, using the T at the end of what was happening with Lorraine, it made the end of the phrase much easier for her. Now, maybe you do that at home. Maybe it doesn't make the end of the phrase easier for you. Maybe it makes it a little bit more difficult. Again, as I always say, play around with these things. What works for you? What doesn't work for you? Thanks for watching Donna Reid Talks Voice. If you have any questions for me about this episode, or if you'd like to join me on a future episode, please visit donnareedtv.com and click Contact.